see here, G73, that stands for peg drilling cycle. And G83 also stands for peg drilling cycle. Here, the basic difference between G73 and G83 are, before discussing this, let us just go understand the meaning peg drilling cycle. Peg drilling cycle, the name comes from woodpecker. Woodpecker, Vadrangi Pitta in Telugu, that will be digging holes in the barks of trees. But the entire depth of the hole made by it on the barks of trees will not be done by a single stretch, one stretch. It will be gradually digging, improving the depth of the hole by hitting the bark of the trees with its beak. So the same principle has been used in engineering also. So if you wanted to drill a hole of around 80 mm, so you cannot drill the hole for its entire depth at once. You have to go up to some depth and get back into the air gap. Again, you have to go in rapid motion up to the depth completed, and from there it will be continued to do for some more depth. Again, it will come back. Like that, the process will be repeated until the full depth of the hole has been reached. The same process is followed in G73 and G83. Okay? And G74 is used for left-hand typing cycles, and G84 for right-hand typing cycles. 1 minute. Here, G84, there was a mistyping here. That is a right-hand tapping cycle. It is not drilling cycle. I shall get it correct. And G85 is used for boring cycle. G86 also for boring cycle. There are different models of boring cycles, but mostly we will not be using all these cycles. There are a very few cycles which will be very frequently used, and I shall explain them in detail after completing the interpretation of these G codes. And G90 is used for absolute coordinates, absolute coordinate system. That means when we express the coordinate values of various points with reference to the workpiece origin, then the system is called absolute coordinate system. If we express the coordinate values of any point with reference to the previous point, then it is called relative coordinate system or incremental coordinate system. And G92 command, it is used for setting the machine origin at some value. I have not given that just because it will be there, it will be existing in the machine. We will not be using this command. If we start using this command, the machine origin gets disturbed, and every time we have to reset it. That's why I have not shown you that. Anyhow, I shall give you the list of all the commands available in the CNC systems. So for the time being, let us just confine our discussion with whatever codes that are used in routine activities. Okay. So G94 is used for constant surface speed, and this is used only on CNC lathes. Here, while doing facing operation on a CNC lathe, as you take the tool from the outer periphery towards the center of the tool, when the cutting edge lies at the outer periphery, the circle formed at that outer periphery will be very large as compared to the circle formed at the center. If theoretically, if the cutting edge comes to the axis, the diameter of the circle will be almost 0. So while doing facing operations, the velocity of cutting will be a constant for any cutting action. Okay, even for drilling, boring, tapping, surface grinding, milling, for every cutting action, the rate of metal removal will be constant. Similarly, in facing operation also, we will be having a fixed value of rate of metal removal. For maintaining that, when the diameter of the circle formed by the cutting edge approaches 0 at the center of the workpiece, the RPM would have to be increased. But if you leave it like that, the RPM of the spindle may approach infinity. So the maximum RPM will be defined by us, and the RPM will not cross the maximum value specified by us in the next command, that is G96. And constant surface speed will be activated whenever we give G94. These two commands are used only on CNC lathes, but not in machining centers. Okay, and the next is G98 and G99. So these two represent the retraction levels of the cutting tool. Suppose we have mounted the workpiece on the pallet work area, and the front face will be taken as Z0. Front face of the workpiece is taken as Z0. If you start drilling the hole, the drill will be getting into the material of the job, and that will be negative value of Z. That means the depth of the holes will be in negative direction. And if you take the tool away from the workpiece, if you take the tip of the tool away from the workpiece, that means backwards, then it will be Z plus. So as soon as you bring any cutting tool towards the workpiece, you cannot directly get into the workpiece or get onto the workpiece surface, because it will collide with the job and an accident takes place. So for safety, we will be maintaining an air gap of 50 mm or 100 mm between the front face of the workpiece and the tip of the cutting tool. So that particular air gap will be maintained for all the cutting tools, for every individual block of the program. So that is called initial level. And after bringing to the position of cutting, the tool will be taken nearer to the workpiece by maintaining an air gap of 10 mm or 5 mm. From there, the cutting feed will be made active. So we will be giving the cutting feed from that position. Otherwise, what happens? It will go in rapid motion and the cutting tool collides with the workpiece. Again, that will result in an accident. So for safety of the operator, for workpiece and the safety of tool and everything, for safety of the entire machine, we would have to follow a few principles based on which we can perform the cutting action safely. Okay, I shall show you that in the part programs that I have prepared in the successive slides. So G98 is initial level because at a far off distance from the workpiece, and G99 will be somewhat closer to the workpiece, though the tool will not be touching the workpiece. It will be the gap between the tip of the tool and the workpiece surface will be smaller as compared to the air gap between the tip of the tool and the workpiece maintained in initial level. That's all. Just we'll go to the next slide. Okay. All these slides will be available to you. You can just go through these slides after completing the class. Here we have, so far we have discussed about G codes. Here simply for our convenience, you can assume that G stands for geometry of the workpiece. So for defining the geometry of the workpiece with reference to the reference point on the workpiece, we will be using G codes. So we have not mentioned anything about the machine, spindle on off, or coolant, putting on the coolant or putting off the coolant, closing the door or opening the door, like that, or change of tool, change of work, or anything, whichever are concerned to the machine. So here in miscellaneous functions or M codes, for our convenience, we can assume that M stands for machine. That means whatever M codes are there, these are used for controlling the machine. So here, the first code in machine controls is M00. That means which stands for optional stop, M00 and M01. These two stops, optional stops, are used for our convenience. Like when we have started drilling a hole of 50 mm. So right in the beginning position itself, you cannot directly drill a hole of 50 mm. So first of all, you will do center drilling operation, and then we will use a drill of 20 mm, and then 30 or 40, and then 48, and then 50. So before doing operations with so many tools, sometimes we will be needing to remove the scrap so that it will not hinder the tool rotations and the tool will not be getting damaged. So for such purposes, we have to stop the machine. In such cases, we will be using M00 or M01. Once the machine stops now, for again activating, continuing the cutting action of the tool, we have to press cycle start button on the panel. Automatically the cutting action will commence. Okay. M02 stands for program end and rewind. That means, let us say that there are around 500 lines of program. So after completing the program, the last line of the program will be M02. Once M02 is given, it implies that the part program has finished and it is expected to get back to the first line of the program. Rewind means that one. Okay. Similarly, we have M30 program end. If you give M30, the program comes to an end and the cursor will be remaining at the last line of the program. It will not come back to the initial first line of the program. And next, M03, M04, and M05. M03 stands for spindle rotation in clockwise direction. That means if you wanted to rotate the spindle in clockwise direction, you will have to give M03. After M03, we have to specify at which RPM the spindle should rotate. So that is, in this line, I have given M3 S450. M03 or M3, both are same. It doesn't make any difference. Okay. And similarly, M04, spindle clockwise, counterclockwise rotation. So M4 S600 means the spindle rotates at 600 RPM in counterclockwise direction. Okay. And if you wanted to stop the spindle, M05. Okay. And the next one is M06 or M6. Both are same. Here, M06 command is used for changing the tool from the spindle or to the spindle. Here, what happens? There will be a magazine which can accommodate 24 or 40 or 60 or 100 tools, depending on the customer's requirement. That means user's requirement and the manufacturer's options provided by the manufacturer. So let us assume that 40 tools magazine is used and you have already got M tool number 2 in the spindle. And if you wanted to bring tool number 6 from the magazine, so what happens? We should remove the tool number 2 from the spindle and take the tool number T6 from the magazine and insert into the spindle. So there will be a tool changing arm on the machine which will pick up tool number 6 in the magazine and come back to the spindle, and the arm which is idle, that will catch hold of the tool number 2 in the spindle. It will take it out from the spindle, return it back to the tool magazine, and tool number 6 will be inserted into the spindle. All these actions are together covered by one command, that is M6. M6 is an integral command. Actually, M6 command will activate 22 different actions in the machine movement. So all these sequences will be written, will be edited by the manufacturer, and you don't have to go through all these details. But if at all any problem arises, then you have to analyze step by step and then identify the problem where it has come to a stop, and then only how to you can rectify and bring back the machine to normal conditions. So let us not get into the details of all these 22 sequences now. So next is M7. It is flood coolant on. Flood coolant on means, as everybody, in general, everybody sees that the coolant is supplied from by a tube or a nozzle provided by the side of the spindle. That is flood coolant. And the next one is M8, mist coolant on. Mist coolant means the coolant will be supplied along the axis of the cutting tool. Okay, the coolant comes out of the holes provided on the body of the cutting tool. Okay, and M9 or M09 stands for putting off the coolant. Okay, or coolant off. So even if you give a command M7 or M8 to put it off, we have to use M9 and M18 for bringing tool number 24 to the tool change position. You have to give a command M18. That means tool magazine indexing. Tool magazine indexing. And the format is M18 T24. That means tool number 24 will be brought to the tool change position on the magazine. Okay. M19 is spindle orientation. Spindle orientation means, see, for every spindle, you will be having two tenons on the face of the spindle. And when a spindle is rotating, if you give M5 command, the spindle will stop at some angle between 0 and 360. But if the spindle stops like that, it cannot be aligned on the required axis and the tool change activity cannot be performed. For performing tool change activity, you would have to bring the tool in a stop the tool spindle in a fixed position, and that is internally defined by spindle orientation. And for activating that, you have to give M19. That means before changing the spindle, you have to give M19 command. Okay, but in some machines, M6 command includes M19 command also. Okay, M18 and M19 commands are also included in the 22 sequences of tool change command. And the next one is M30. As I have already said that it is the end of the program, or it implies that the program has been completed. M98, call of a subprogram. See here, for example, there is a very large plate on which we are expected to drill holes 4 into 4, 16 holes in each group. And we have to do this set of 16 holes at various places. Then the drilling action of these 4 into 4, 16 holes will be defined in subprogram. And by shifting the reference point at various places as specified in the drawing, we will be calling this subprogram by a main program. That means whatever machining activities are expected to be repeated, all such repeating lines will be defined in a subprogram. As and when we require to do these operations, we will be calling this subprogram in the main program. Once the subprogram has been completed, we will be giving a command M99. So M99 will return back the control of the machine from subprogram to the main program. And the same sequence will be followed for various points with reference to which the subprogram has to be performed. Okay, that's all. So just to go through the list of M codes given in this slide, and then we will go to the next one. Here in against M98, call of a subprogram, I have given the format like M98P2543. That means actually the program numbers of main program or subprogram will be starting with O. But while calling O2543, which is assumed to be a subprogram for us, then we will be giving the command M98 like M98 P2543. As soon as all the So when we call the subprogram, we will be calling the subprogram by giving a command M98P2543, and as soon as the subprogram comes to an end, the control will be handed over back to the main program. That's all. And I have already prepared slides for using this facility also. We will see that. If anybody had doubts, I shall clarify them during the last 15 minutes of this session. Just for clarifications, you just unmute your microphone and directly ask me, so that I don't have to minimize the screen and go through the messages. So here we have already gone through these symbols or addresses followed in CNC part programs. Anyhow, the slides will be available to you, and all are in detail, so we don't have to get confused. So here, part program number 1. In this, we are using absolute coordinates. See, just before switching over to the NC blocks or part program lines in the part program, you just go through the graph. This one, this position, O, origin of the meeting point of x-axis and y-axis, is taken as reference point for the square shape. Though it is not a perfect square, just assume that. I had some difficulty in trying the figure. So that is A, B, C, D. So the reference point for machining A, B, C, D is O, and that is here. That means it is the reference point defined on the workpiece. That means it is the work offset. And that work offset values have been given by me in G54. Okay. These work offset registers and tool offset registers will be there in the machine. By pressing the offset key on CNC panel, you will get 3 options: work offset, tool offset, and graphical representation of the monitor. So in those 3 options, you will select work offset and enter the values as shown here: x 250.0, and y minus 475.25, and z minus 424.22. I have given these values assuming that these are the measured values in x, y, and z axis between machine origin and workpiece origin. These are all assumed values. You have to practically measure them and enter into the work offset register. Okay. So here the coordinate values of A are 100 and x 100 and y 85.75. Okay. And B coordinate is x 375.65 and y 85.75. And the C coordinate is x 375.65 and y 300. And D coordinate is x 100, y 300. And the dark colored circle, it is assumed to be the cutter. Okay. And the cutter is assumed to be at some arbitrary position in the work area. Okay. From here, the cutter will be taken to the workpiece origin in rapid motion. Actually, this rapid motion is represented by dotted lines, but I had some difficulty in preparing this PPT, so I have drawn it in a solid line. Okay. So from O, the cutter is taken towards A, and from A it travels towards B in cutting action. So from B it cuts along BC up to C, and from C the cutter will cut the material along CD up to D. Again the cutter cuts the material along DA from D to A, and then it has been taken back to 50, 50, some position which is away from the workpiece, and then cutter compensation has been cancelled, and it will be taken back to origin O. Okay. Here, you should keep in mind that the length of the tool and diameter of the tool are measured and entered into the tool offset register, geometry H and geometry D. Suppose if we have not given geometry D, then what happens? If you write the part program that has been shown on the left hand side of the slide, it will simply travel to A such that the center of the cutter lies on the point A. That means the circle will be coming in this area. That means some part of this corner will be cut by the cutter, and the radius of that cut will be equal to the radius of the cutter. And if you give the cutter compensation, tool radius compensation in geometry D and activate the cutter compensation, it will shift either to the left or to the right based on which compensation you have given. So for maintaining ABCD, a shaft like projection ABCD on the surface of the workpiece, that means ABCD will be available and the material around it will be cut. So this area will be waste and ABCD will be remaining in position. For such conditions, when the tool is traveling towards A to B, the cutter has to be shifted in the arrow shown here. That means this arrow represents the shift in right hand direction with reference to the tool path. Okay. When the tool is traveling in counterclockwise direction, the tool has to be shifted towards its right side for maintaining A, B, C, D. A shaft like projection, A, B, C, D. If you wanted to make a hole of the same sizes in the same shape with the same geometry, then the direction, if the program direction of the cutting action remains the same, then you have to shift the cutter towards its left side. That means left side compensation with reference to tool path. Okay, just understand, don't get confused. It is very important for us at this stage to understand tool length compensation, tool radius compensation, and in which direction we have to give the compensation for maintaining a hole or a shaft. Making a hole is called die, and making a shaft is punch. Here in this example, I have considered ABCD as punch. That means some projection will be there on ABCD on the front face of the workpiece. So let us get back to the program now, and the program number has been given as O1466. Okay, 1466. If you have any drawing number, you can just type the drawing number within the brackets after 1466 and insert a semicolon at the end of it, so that as soon as you press 1465 represents the geometry of part program for that particular drawing number. And the first line of the program is N10 T1. N10 T1. This 6 and semicolon, there is some mistyping here. N10 T1. N10 stands for numeric line of the numeric code, the numeric block. Each line in this program is called NC block. I have given line numbers N10, N20, N30 like that only when there is a tool change action. That means whenever M6 or a tool call is affected, only in such lines I have given N10. That will help us in searching for the lines in the consecutive days. That means, for example, I have got a 1000 pages program and I have started today. I have done operations up to 333, and tomorrow I cannot simply remember 333 lines and go for 334th line. So in such cases, we will be searching the line in terms of N10, N20, N30 like that. So it will be helpful for us. It will be a very good practice of not giving line numbers to every line. It is not a good practice. Okay, so only we will be having certain landmarks like things to identify the lines. Here, tool change activity, tool change actions are treated as important. So we will be giving numbers only to the lines which will be having tool change activities. Okay, and the next line is G0, G91, G28, X0, Y0, Z0, M19. That means G0 stands for rapid movement, G91 stands for relative coordinate system, G28 is return to the reference point of machine. Okay, X0, Y0, Z0 specifies the machine origin, M19 stands for machine orientation. So unless this particular line is activated, you cannot change the tool, because tool change activity will be always defined at a position which is far away from the operator and workpiece, because tool change activity involves rotation and forward and backward movement of tool changing arms. If at all by mistake we get into the area, it will hit on us and sometimes it will break our head. It will be that much dangerous. They are very rigid. Okay, so to avoid accidents and foulings or collisions, the tool change activity will be always defined from defined at a point which is away from the workpiece and the operator. So G0, G91, G28, S0, Y0, Z0, M19. This particular command, this particular line of commands will take the machine spindle to a highest position and furthermore farthest position of the machine. There the tool change will take place when it comes across M06 command that has been given in the next line. After that, I have given G17, G15, G49, G80, G64, G40 and G20. Here what happens, as we are carrying out the machining activity in XY plane, so we have to select the XY plane. So G17 has been given for that. G17 stands for selection of XY plane. And G15 stands for cancellation of polar coordinate systems. That means Cartesian coordinate system is in action. Okay. G49 specifies cancellation of previous tool offsets. If at all any tool offset is remembered by the machine, we are cancelling it. Similarly, if any canned cycles are there in the memory, we are cancelling G80. We are cancelling those canned cycles by command G80. G64 stands for cutting mode. That means the machine is expected to cut the material, not in tapping mode. Okay. So if it is in tapping mode, we have to give G63. But here we don't have any tapping operation. We are expected to do milling operation. So G64 must be specified. G40 stands for cancellation of tool radius compensations previously used. This particular, and G20 stands for input of dimensions in metric system. Okay. If it is inch system, then we have to give G21. But here we are using millimeters as input, so we have to specify G20. So all of you have to observe that G17, G15, G49, G80, G64, G40 and G20. This line is consisting of all the default conditions of the machine which are expected by us if we do not give this particular line of commands, the machine will be remembering only those commands which have been used in the latest usage. Okay, latest. As for example, somebody operated this machine yesterday and they have gone for tapping mode, polar coordinate system, or macros or something. All such things will be lying in the memory. If we do not cancel them, it will be resulting in erratic movements, and we cannot understand what is happening on the machine by running our commands. Okay. And the next line is G0, G90, G54, X0, Y0, Z, X0, Y0. Initially, the cutter is at some arbitrary position here that has been taken to origin on the workpiece by specifying G0, G90, G54. X0, Y0 means this particular point itself. Here, this point is treated as origin O, is treated as X0, Y0 on the workpiece. Okay. From here, the tip of the tool is in a far off position from the front face of the workpiece. So what I have given, actually in the previous line, I have started this line with the G0, no? So in the next line, Z100, G43, H1, here I have not repeated G0 because G0 will be remaining in the memory unless G01 or G02 appears in the consecutive lines. So G0, Z100, G43, H1. That means the tip of the tool is moved towards the workpiece by maintaining a gap of 100 mm between workpiece front surface and the tip of the tool. G43 means considering the length of the tool, which has been entered by us. We have to enter that before starting the part program. We have to enter the tool offsets, tool length offset in geometry H, and diameter of the cutting tool in geometry D. Okay. And the next, G43 stands for tool length compensation, and H1 stands for the length of the tool as specified in the tool offset register against tool number 1 in geometry H. Very clear. Okay. And the next line is given between brackets. That means diode 20.1. I have diode 20.1 into 175 length end mill. That means I am going to use an end mill of diode 20.1 and 175 mm length. So whatever is given within brackets is treated as a comment statement in part programs. It is not a command. Okay. So next line is M3 S450 M7. M3 stands for clockwise rotation of the spindle, and the RPM is given as 450 RPM. M07 is coolant on. And then here the tip of the tool is brought to a distance of 100 mm from the workpiece front surface. And in the next line after spindle commands, it is given as G0, 5. That means the tip of the tool is brought towards the workpiece, maintaining a gap of 5 mm. At this stage, we have given G01, Z-5, feed 40. That means from the position where it is maintaining a gap of 5 mm, the tip of the tool will be going to a depth of 5 mm at a 40 mm feed rate, 40 mm per minute feed rate. And then one minute please.
So any problem, sir?
Just I wanted to make a correction here. I have done it.
Okay, okay.
So I am proceeding. So here, after spindle command, after going to depth of 5 mm,
Sir, voice loss, sir. కొంచెం దగ్గర.
1 minute. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Right. So here, after going to a depth of 5 mm, the command given here is G1 X100 Y85.75 G42 D01. That means the cutting tool will travel from X0 Y0 on the workpiece to point A, and the tool will stop at a position shown in the diagram. You just go through the diagram. The line AB, if you extend the line AB towards y-axis, it will be tangential to the cutter periphery. Similarly, if you extend line DA towards x-axis, here the line will be tangential to this periphery of the cutter. From here, the cutting tool will travel towards B, but it will go ahead of B by the value equal by a distance equal to the radius of the cutter, because it has to travel towards C parallel to y-axis. Anyhow, the cutter will start cutting action from A to B to C and then to D and then to A. While the cutter, that means the cutter is performing cutting action. The cutting action is performed in counterclockwise direction. Okay, all of you have to note it down. It is very important for us in drawing our conclusions about the combinations of clockwise program or counterclockwise program, and the compensations used, left hand side compensation or right hand side compensation. What happens for each direction of the program and each type of compensation that we use here. All these are very important for us. Otherwise, our expectations will go wrong. Okay, we will not be getting good results. So the cutter comes to position A. If you do not activate the cutter compensation, tool radius compensation, the center of the tool will be coming on the corner A here. As we have already activated right hand side compensation here, the cutter will stop at a position away from line AB by the value equal to radius of the cutter. So it will stop here. The cutter will stop here, and here X100 Y85.75 has been at the end of the line. I have given A in between brackets. That means I just wanted to show you that this line results in the travel of the cutter from origin to A. And the next one is X375.65. Here the y coordinate of A and y coordinate of B both are equal, so we don't need to specify the y coordinate of B again. That's why as x coordinate of B changes from that of A, I have given X375.65, and then Y300. Again, x coordinate of B and x coordinate of C both are same, but y coordinate of C changes from y coordinate of B. That's why we need to give the y coordinate of C for allowing the tool to cut along BC. Okay, and the next line is Y300 stands for C and X100 stands for D. And again, Y85.75 stands for point A. That means the cutter will travel from here to here, from up to D, and then from D to A up to here. So at Y85.75, at this point, we have finished the profile. We have finished the square profile here. And then the cutter is instructed to get back to X50, Y50. That means this is 100, 85.75, no? This point. X50, Y50 will be lying somewhere here. Y means after coming back to position X50, Y50, the cutter is allowed to travel to workpiece origin X0, Y0 along with a command for cancellation of tool radius compensation, that is G40. Tool radius compensation has been cancelled. Before giving G40, we should see that the distance between the center of the cutter and the workpiece profile should be greater than the radius of the cutter. Otherwise, what happens? It will get back towards A and it will dig the material of the job. That will damage the workpiece. We should see that it should be away from the workpiece profile. And then G0, Z100. G0, Z100 means the cutting tool has been taken away from the workpiece, maintaining a distance of 100 mm between the front face of the workpiece and the tip of the tool. And then G0, G91, G28, X0, Y0, Z0, M19. That means the cutting tool has been taken back to machine origin and spindle orientation is affected. And then tool change command is given, M6. After that, as we don't have anything to do with this cutting tool, we have given M30 because no more operations are performed in this part program. M30 means end of the program. And that percentage symbol will be there on the monitor, which means that the monitor is kept ready for editing. If you have any lines to be added to it, you can add it. Okay. So for today, let us just stop here. And I just wanted to go for clarifying the doubts. If anybody had any doubts, just put on your microphone and ask me. Madhukar?